The first time folks noticed it, it was just before dawn, when the sky was still bruised purple and the air carried that cold, metallic smell of night giving up. A low groan rolled across the ranch, deep and drawn out, like thunder trapped inside a barrel and shaken slow. It rose, fell, then rose again, rhythmic enough to set teeth on edge. Dogs barked and then went quiet. A porch light snapped on down the road. Someone stood listening in their robe, coffee forgotten, wondering what in God's name could make a sound like that. From the road, the sight only made it worse. The old water tower, rust-streaked, leaning just enough to make newcomers nervous, shuddered as something big and dark pressed against it. In the half-light, shadows moved in a way that looked wrong, almost deliberate, as if the tower itself were being tested, nudged, worried at. Each time the sound peaked, the structure trembled, metal complaining with a long, aching squeal. Anyone slowing their truck couldn't help but stare, imagination filling in details the light refused to give. By breakfast, the rumors had already outpaced the facts. At the diner, forks paused halfway to mouths as people leaned in. Someone said it was livestock gone feral. Someone else swore they'd seen the rancher experimenting with new equipment, foreign stuff, dangerous stuff. A woman at the counter lowered her voice and said it didn't look like equipment at all. The word, rubbing, came up more than once, each time followed by a silence thick with implication. Coffee cooled untouched as the story grew sharper edges. By mid-morning, trucks began slowing on the county road, dust hanging longer in the air as drivers craned their necks. A couple of teenagers parked on the shoulder, pretending to check their phones while sneaking glances through the fence. From certain angles, it truly did look indecent, something large moving insistently, the tower swaying as if resisting. The sound carried farther now, bouncing off the hills, impossible to ignore. Even those who wanted to mind their own business found the noise slipping under doors and into thoughts. By noon, the fence line had turned into a gathering place. Hats tipped back, arms crossed, judgment simmering just under the skin. No one stepped onto the property, but no one left either. They whispered guesses, half laughed, half gasped, scandal feeding on uncertainty. The rancher was nowhere to be seen, which only added fuel. Some said that was the real shock. Whatever it was, he wasn't stopping it. Others wondered if he even knew, or if the ranch had finally started doing things on its own. The sound went on, steady and unapologetic, grinding against nerves as much as metal. What people thought they were witnessing began to feel certain in their minds, even without proof. And as the sun climbed higher, burning away the last of the mist, the town stood waiting, outraged, fascinated, convinced they were about to see something they could never unsee. What finally broke the spell wasn't another rumor, but the rancher himself. Just after the church bells marked 1 o'clock, he came into view from behind the barn, wiping his hands on a red rag like he'd just finished an ordinary chore. He paused when he saw the line of people along the fence, their faces turned toward the tower, then toward him. For a moment, no one spoke. The groaning continued, steady as a pulse, filling the silence with accusation. Instead of waving them off or shouting, the rancher nodded once, as if he'd expected this. He walked straight toward the water tower, boots crunching on gravel, and stopped beneath it. Up close, the sound was worse, metal on metal, a vibration you could feel in your chest. He looked up, squinting, then called out, "It's past time I fixed that." The simplicity of the words only confused people more. A man near the fence snorted. Someone muttered, "That's all he's got to say." Then the rancher did the last thing anyone expected. He climbed. No ladder. No showmanship. Just a careful ascent up the maintenance rungs bolted into the tower decades ago. Every movement made the groan change pitch, sharper now, almost protesting. A few folks looked away, uneasy, convinced they were about to witness a disaster. Others leaned forward, unable to stop watching. Dust drifted down as his boots knocked loose old rust. When he reached the source, he stopped and let the town see. With one hand, he steadied a long, warped pump arm, thick steel, bent just enough to scrape and grind as the wind pushed it. Years of use had eaten grooves into both surfaces. It wasn't movement for its own sake, or anything alive and intentional. It was neglect, plain and loud. He tapped the metal with his knuckles, the sound ringing clean and unmistakable. "You let something small go long enough," he called down, voice carrying easily, "it'll make a hell of a noise." Then he set to work. Bolts clanged loose. The groan stuttered, then stopped entirely, leaving a sudden quiet that felt heavier than the sound ever had. When the arm came free, he lowered it carefully, inch by inch, until it rested on the ground in full view, undeniable, ordinary, harmless. The crowd didn't disperse right away. People stood there, hands in pockets, eyes shifting. A few laughed too loudly. Someone cleared their throat and said they'd been worried. Another said nothing at all, just stared at the dirt. The rancher climbed down, dusted himself off, and finally faced them. "I should have fixed it sooner," he said, not accusing, not apologizing. "But I'm not the only one who heard something and decided what it was before looking close." No one argued. The shock settled differently now. Not embarrassment, but recognition. One by one, people drifted back to their trucks and routines, the story already changing in their heads. By evening, the ranch was quiet again. And though the noise was gone, the lesson kept rubbing against the town, long after the metal had stopped.